Congratulations, Hellspawn. You have defeated James the Less, the weakest of our number. Poor James. They sawed his body into pieces after they martyred him at Ostrakin. Dismemberment seems to be his fate. My name is Simon Peter. They call me the Podcaster.
Welcome back to another episode of Spawnography. I'm one of your hosts, Pierce Lyden, pronouns they, them, here with, as always,
George Marston, pronouns they, them, or she, her. How the heck are you, Pierce?
pretty good. We're recording on a rare Monday record.
That's right.
We are barreling through this Armageddon arc. We're having a lot of fun. Congratulations to us on 100 episodes being released.
I was going to say, I'm so excited that everyone got the day off work for Spawnography Day.
There's also this weekend a bunch of toy news. Have you seen all the toy news?
I saw a bunch of it, yeah. Speaking of toys, I keep forgetting to tell you this. I got my Founder Series Spawn. Pretty sick. He came with a lot of accessories. I also found some of my old Spawn toys. I don't have them on me right now, but I did find them in my toy bins as I have been looking through. By the way, if you're looking to buy any vintage toys, hit me up because I got a ton of them. Masters of the Universe, Transformers, all kinds of stuff. Sectars, yes, Sectars. I have some Visionaries. I have some all kinds of stuff. So if you're looking for vintage toys, you know,
we'll leave a link in the description to the episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
So they revealed Mattel's first shot at DC Toys, which is like a kids line, but it looks fine. They actually like the thing that I think everybody was excited to see is they have all the accessory trees like you used to get with the old Ninja Turtles toys.
Right.
And I was
I haven't fully dug through it. They're fine. I'm not okay. Look, I love toys. I'm obviously a toy collector.
Tchotchke American.
I'm a tchotchke American, unfortunately. I don't know. I just want more adult looking figures. I guess if anyone's getting action figures, it should be the kids. I'll go ahead and make that clear.
Well, Mattel is going to do their adult collector line later this year or next year. So I'm sure we'll get some stuff at New York Comic-Con.
We'll see.
Playmates.
Comic-Cons can be mixed bags for announcements.
True. Playmates, they lost Ninja Turtles for the first time ever.
After like 48 years or whatever the fuck it's been.
48 years.
I mean, it's been like 45 years.
That's a great point. It has been, I guess it has been, it's been 42. I mean, technically.
Okay, there we go.
Regardless, their big new license is Dungeon Crawler Carl. Have you heard of this book?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So people are seemingly excited about it, but I don't know that I care to read a book that doesn't have pictures.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It's a novel, something about Dungeons and Dragons.
A comic book without pictures.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
they
the
forgot
Bible?
to do.
Like, yeah, exactly, like the Bible.
But like the shitty one that wasn't drawn by Rob Liefeld.
Right, exactly. The worst one.
The one that we'll get into as part of these episodes of Spawn.
I mean, this arc of Spawn is the most Bible adjacent we've been ever.
This arc of Spawn is just moving like a freight train at this point. And you know what this feels like at this point to me? And I think this is the analogy that we've maybe been looking for, or the comparison we've maybe been looking for, is it feels like when a show needs like 3 more seasons to end, but they're like, great news, you getting 1 more season, it's going to be 8 episodes instead of 12.
Yeah, this arc. So I was even just saying to Vanessa before we started recording, she's working on a book. That's what kept me a little bit. She got an idea for a book, and so now every time we talk, we're just hashing out story ideas, which is cool. Which is pretty fun, actually. But I said, I was like, oh yeah, we gotta. I was like, these issues kind of whip, and she's like, it's nice for you to say that the podcast you've been doing for 100+ episodes, like you're covering something that you enjoy. And I was like, it happens pretty frequently. It's just that you remember when I don't like something
I
because
would
it
say
doesn't
the
happen as
amount of
often.
times that we're actually like, ugh, is pretty minimal compared to the amount of times that we're like, okay, or even better, hell yeah. So I think that's what has made us breach 100 episodes and get this far in the spawn, is that it's more like, oh, let's see where this goes, than I don't care where this goes.
Yeah, and also too, we tend to agree, but we don't always. We tend to agree, as was that arc with the fairies. That was a callback.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah, no, these issues, they're pretty fun, and they bring back some things. I can't wait to get into it, but they bring back some things that I am happy to see. I still am not certain. So I think I said a couple times, and I don't mean to be disparaging to David Hine, that a little bit of this arc feels like read the Cliff Notes, wrote the story, because you generally get it. And if you're, because it, I think that this is true of anybody who reads like a lot of a certain type of fiction, or just like kind of engages with certain things. Like you start to learn the tropes, you start to learn the kind of flow of things, and you can kind of go, great. I can put together something that feels like the stuff I've read, or you know, needs to. I do think that there's a bit of an editorial decision in this arc. I'm starting to understand it, which is like,
Right.
it is cut away the complications and get things a little neater for whatever's going to come down the line. This definitely feels like an arc now, and it has felt like this, but it really feels like we built up a lot of stuff really quickly, because we're going to cut away that stuff pretty quickly. We're going to call back to stuff that we're going to explain why that stuff doesn't matter because nobody did, and we're going to try and move forward with the character and give you that reset moment that, yeah, it just doesn't happen on the anniversary issues, I think, like you might want it to happen. It's just going to happen in a kind of random place, but that's okay. That's what comics are. And I think that's good. I think the art in these issues is like some of the more interesting work that we've seen from Philip Tan, from like
I think the art is pretty solid through these.
I agree. And he starts pulling out tricks that I didn't know he had. Like he just starts doing stuff that I'm like, you just read some Hellboy or something, because like you're just doing some of that, and I love it. I'm into it.
Right.
You know.
Well,
So.
David Hine is bringing in some different influences, as we've seen with other writers that have come through, and I think he's maybe a little more arch in some ways than some of even the Brian Holguin stuff, where he's not getting super into the nitty gritty of things. He's kind of aiming for like these big picture, like sweeping moments where like now we're moving into heaven and earth and God and the devil, and it's just bigger and bigger and larger than life. We go through the rapture, as we saw in the last couple issues. These issues will continue through Revelations. Honestly, some pretty sick kind of concepts through here. This is the thing I said earlier, right at the start, that like these are kind of, they feel like, oh, we got to get this final season done. And I get it, because they're ready to move into something new. You can tell they already have their concepts for like Jim Downing, and they want to call back and pay off every little thing, including some things we've been missing for quite a few issues. And there are points where it's like, oh, okay, but there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, hell yeah, like I was just saying. So,
There's a
We're
lot of
almost doing pre-final thoughts in a way
No,
here.
I know, but I think it's because we're actually excited to talk about this one in a way that we haven't been super excited to get into some
It's
of
been
these issues.
ramping up. It's been ramping up.
There's been an interesting kind of like ebb and flow to these issues in general, where I do think that Hine feels like he's got to spend a lot of shoe leather just setting all the chess pieces into place so that he can wipe the board a little bit, so he can flip the table over, kind of, and
Right.
like, and also he manages to do something in these issues that actually surprised me, which has not happened in quite a
There are a
while.
couple things in here that I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay."
Yeah, and I think you're right about him being a much more arch writer, right? He's like looking for what's the big good versus evil? What he's trying to figure out the definition of
What's the
what
most
Spawn is.
climactic version of this that I can do? Brian Holguin dug a lot into minutia, and there were a lot of plot lines that honestly we started really enjoying and really digging into in a lot of ways because they were, again, taking time to pay off those little moments from the previous issues of Spawn. I feel like David Hine here, again, partially due to what I assume are like space requirements, is kind of just blasting through and trying to get the biggest moments possible. Like we're not wasting time on certain elements of connective tissue.
It feels like where Holguin was like writing a poem about how you build a door to the next thing, or how you build a bridge to the next thing. Hine is just like evil Knieveling over the ravine. You know what I mean? Like it's like that. That's kind of the difference there. Like I was very much enjoying the whole like your reason, William Blake. Like we're gonna give some depth here. We're gonna make
There was like a real organic quality to it where like the story kind of moved like vines over tombstones. And
and
here,
like it
this
was a
one
vibe.
is like a portal to hell. It's just like you jump straight through and there's crazy shit going on all around you. And I mean that in a totally positive way.
Totally.
So look, we're 12 minutes in. Do you have anything to say about your week, or should we just get right into it?
I mean, it's Monday, so my week's only just begun, and I'm excited for it to. I'm just excited to get into these. So I think
All
we
right. Well,
should.
in that case, Pierce, let's just hit me with those credits.
All right. Tom McFarlane Image Comics present Spawn number 160. Very badass cover with Philip Tan drawing the disciple and like a burning Spawn. It's pretty cool. Story by David Hine, pencils by Philip Tan, inks by Danny Miki, Alan Martinez, Ryan Wynn, Crime Lab Studios, and Jonathan Clapion. Lettering by Tom Orzechowski. More about him later. Colors by Brian Haberlin and Andy Troy. Spawn editors, Brian Haberlin and Todd McFarlane. Dedicated to Philippe Drouillet.
Okay.
I don't know who he is. I'm going to look him up because I forgot.
That cover is super sick. I remain super into the design of the disciple, or as we'll find out, the disciples, as is pretty easily foreshadowed simply by the appearance of the characters.
Oh, Philippe Drouillet is a French Drouillet? I don't know. I don't speak French. French comics artist, creator, innovator in visual design. His first published series was his version of Michael Moorcock's Elric stories in a short-lived magazine. He worked on something called the Lone Sloan Saga. And he pursued innovative imagery, including bold page designs, computer-generated images, lots of Art Nouveau. Pretty cool. Hung out with Mobius, formed a publishing house. So,
I mean,
once
Mobius
again,
is.
This is so relevant. This is crazy. Okay, this week I'm going to see
the Bible.
He wrote the Bible. No, this week on Wednesday I'm going to see Sorcerer, William Friedkin Sorcerer.
Oh,
never seen it, and it's playing at Nighthawk. Here on Wikipedia it says, outside his work as a cartoonist and illustrator, Drouillet
has been active.
Druillet.
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
He's also been active in architecture, rock opera, painting, sculpture, and digital art. He worked as a designer on the film Sorcerer, directed by William Friedkin in 1976.
Well, how the heck about that?
What are the chances? It's all coming together. Anyway, very, very cool. Still alive. He also worked on Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah.
He's 81. Anyway, Todd McFarlane, always paying it forward. We open in the aftermath of the last issues. Last issues got kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I'll read the summary. I'll read the summary of 159.
Go ahead.
Man of Miracles, uses her considerable powers to slow down time, allowing Spawn to save Wanda's life. She then removes the twins from Wanda's memories so that she may continue her life with some semblance of sanity. Spawn reveals his true nature to Cyan, who takes it in stride with a composure far beyond her years. All this, plus the rapture, calls Granny Blake and the other chosen to heaven to reap their just reward. And when we got to see that, at first it looked like heaven was what we think of when we see heaven.
Right. Stereotypical clouds and pearly gates
and it was not that. Once Granny Blake got her sight back, it was we saw the Forgotten had been turned into like an angel-flagged massacre cross, and it was honestly, heaven was a bit of a hell.
Wow. Yep. That's true. Profound.
Brave of me to say.
That's wow. That's pretty intense, Pearson. I think that well, I don't know if our listeners are ready to hear something like that.
Well, it's almost like heaven and hell are two sides of the same coin.
Listen, oh well, heaven and hell.
Anyway, we start out with what?
I said the lover of life's not a winner. The ending is just the beginning. The closer you get to the meaning, the sooner you know that you're dreaming. It's heaven and hell. Oh well.
Oh well.
The immortal Dio.
So we open with some bugs because when Spawn revealed himself to Cyan, he spewed bugs everywhere, and she wasn't scared, which is pretty cool. She was scared, but she took it pretty well.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, I'm brave. These are just bugs."
Yeah,
I literally
it was pretty cool.
just saw demons.
Yeah.
One thing I immediately like about the art that carries through this book is these issues is there's the panel of Cyan sitting there looking at her desk, and over to the left in the shadows you see kind of almost carved in stone the shape of Spawn protecting Cyan, sort of built into the shadows. And that continues throughout this issue. There are so many places where there are these little abstract moments where these memories are almost hewn in rock in the background, and it works so well. Gotta say, I've had my complaints about some of the colors. These issues really good, and there's some moments in the second issue where I was just like, oh shit, this looks great. So really right off the bat, yeah, just great art. Go ahead.
I really like the rock approach, like the carved in rock approach to the memories too, because it tells us a couple of things. One, these are things that are foundational for Cyan. They are things that she will remember. These are not things that she will forget. But also it allows for us to get like the black and white flashback kind of feel without it, where it still gets to be an element of the page and not just like a faded photograph or whatever. It's actually really cool.
And the colors, they just color it flat like the rest of the background. Yep. So really all you're getting is this very like two-tone, almost chiaroscuro, like cast shadow look that's very textured. It's almost hard to describe how it looks. It's very simple in practice, but it's very striking, and it's such an interesting poetic choice to use throughout these issues where we're figuring out what things are kind of hewn into rock and which things will come and go and ebb and flow like the tides. So Cyan is sitting here thinking about how much she misses Granny Blake. She's talking about how, everybody just got up to heaven, all the people that are good enough. And there's this moment where she's like, I guess I wasn't good enough, mommy and daddy either. And it's like that what an intense thing. David Hine, to his credit, really delving into the emotions of Cyan in particular, and kind of turning her into a character that is as important as it seems like she was intended to be, really, since the beginning. Like, I don't know that she was intended to get here, but obviously she was meant to be quite an important character.
Well, and also we came back to that there will come a child prophecy, right?
Right.
Which we got a feint of it when we saw the kid with like the Spawn logo on his stomach and he just kind of never came back and it felt like, oh, we're doing something, and then we just didn't really do anything. But Cyan, fittingly, has been holding that binky that is with the Spawn's shoelace since almost since it fell out of his face. So like,
Right.
it makes sense that it's her. And I think that David Hine, one of the skills that he has is just going like, I don't have to dig into minutia. All the stuff's there, guys. Just like stick it together.
Right. I don't need to do a whole issue where we remember what happened with the pacifier. You should know it's there. And if you don't, well, there's
something to
a
look back
whole
on.
fucking 150 plus issues of comics to read if you want. Or you can listen to Spawnography. And we'll explain
Question
it.
for you with regards
Okay.
to comics in general. Do you, if somebody recommends like a book to you and it's on issue like 67 and they're like, yo, this one's sick, you should check it out, are you always going back to the beginning, or are you excited to like read the thing that your friend said was good and just dig in and be like, if I think this is interesting, I'll go back?
As always, it's situational.
Sure.
I think that, like, it depends on the recommendation in the book. For example, a lot of people recommended Immortal Hulk to me. That's a comic you kind of want to read from number one.
True.
At the same time, I have definitely picked up comics just in the middle of a run, either on recommendation or just because I liked the cover, and just been like, okay, what's going on here? Do I think this is good? There are a couple of books where that happened, and then I went back and I was like, oh, I gotta read everything else. This is so good.
Yeah.
I also think maybe it's generational. We both grew up in an era where if you wanted to read comics, you had to have the comics. You had to either be able to find a trade if it existed, or you had to be digging through back issue bins,
or figure out how CBR files work.
Right. Well, even before that, like in the 90s and early 2000s, in the very early internet era, it wasn't as easy to just find scans of whatever, you know what I mean? And or even to have, as I probably would prefer people to do, buy digital copies or even subscribe to like Marvel and the DC apps. And just, there is a thing now among, I've talked about this in many episodes, where some readers are like, oh, Fantastic Four number 600 is good, I'm going to start on number 1. And it's like,
you're going to have a rough time.
You're going to have a hard time because you're not going to be able to relate to about 40 years of this.
Yeah.
And there's so much value in those 40 years, especially for a reader. But it took me personally, like, I had to go back and kind of rediscover old comics and in a certain point in my comic reading era and be like, oh,
this is why this is considered great.
So good. Yeah. And so I also, to that point, I grew up in particular in an era where, like, I'd see a comic on the shelf or on the rack at the gas station or the drugstore, and it'd be like X-Men number 236.
And you're like, that's whatever. My personality for the next fucking 6 months, because I don't know when I'll get to read the next part of
I don't have a concept of when comics come out, or that there's like I'm 6 years old, I'm picking up this X-Men comic because the cover looks sick, and then you're diving in and going, well, I like X-Men now. And maybe you find ones before, and maybe you find ones later, and eventually you figure out that they all go in an order.
This is why I thought as a kid that random was much more important than he was.
Well, yeah, because there's like 3 issues where he's like central.
Exactly, and I happen to have all of them, so I was like, this guy, he's awesome. I also had the toy where his arm was a gun, and I was like,
I mean, I think that's the beauty of it. That's kind of the beauty of, and this is why I think there's value. There's a lot of value in just diving into what's going on, even if you're going back. And of course, how could I, a person who has covered over 100 and like 100 into our 160th issue now of this comic that started 30 years ago, how could I, as a person, claim that you shouldn't go back to the number one of a comic? But I think it's also about like proportionate eras. Maybe you don't need to go back to Fantastic Four number one. Maybe you want to go back to the 80s when it was, the fucking Canadian, and he was doing new things with the Fantastic Four, kind of updating their vibe while doing what many people would consider staying true to the classic stories. Maybe you want to go back and read the Wade and Waringo Fantastic Four, where they're taking the family and updating a lot of the concepts, new villains, new twists on villains. Maybe you want to go into the Jonathan Hickman kind of the like epic definitive modern Fantastic Four. You see what I'm saying? Like, it kind of depends. I don't think there's not value in starting at the beginning of a story.
Oh, of course.
But I do think there's value in recognizing where a story is, or where an actual story starts. And also, I think it's great to just pick up a comic. Pick up if it's issue 3 and they got 1, 2, and 3 right there.
Grab them all. But
if it's like issue 64 and you like the cover and you think the characters are cool, don't worry if you don't know everything. Dive in and you'll be like, oh, I gotta find out, or you'll be like, I don't get this at all and I don't care. And you've lost what, $12 on a comic these days?
I think
something like that.
I think with superhero comics, I'm definitely much more like, oh, I'll just jump in on whatever issue,
because it's all kind of the same language.
It's all relative, and also we're professionals, right? Like, we're professional readers. We know how to read.
I've been reading superhero comics literally since that's how I learned to read. So
whereas when it's a miniseries or like an indie book, and I just know I can get. I know that this might not be on the shelves for very long, but I know I can get all the issues. I'm a little bit more prone. V did that with You'll Do Bad Things, the Tyler Boss book. She liked the cover of like issue 3, and I was like, they have all like 5 issues that are out. Just get them all. She was like, what if I don't like it? And I was like, you'll know if you don't like it after reading 5 issues. Like, it's like a TV show in that way, you know?
Right. And so back to the story at hand. Yes, I think there's value in just being like, I'll read issue 132 of something. I don't know. You got to start somewhere, and that's how generations of readers did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like that was the Grant Morrison thing. Is like, yes, the Stan Lee thing is every issue is somebody's first, and it's like, I just want to read a cool comic, and if it makes me wonder what all the shit that I just read was about, it wins. Like, it has done its job.
It's the adage I say all the time: the best comic is one that makes me want to read the next comic,
or the ones before, right? To just like, how did I get here? Where am I going?
To keep reading.
And these are issues that, like, of this arc, I would kind of be like, I don't know, here you go, start at 160, just go, don't worry about it, it's fine. It's fine as long as you're generally versed in the medium. You're just gonna kind of have a good time,
right? And honestly, that's kind of where these issues are. I really think even if you haven't read Spawn, you can almost jump into these and just be like, heaven, hell, God, Satan, angels, Nixon, there's no Nixon.
Frost,
God, angels, Nixon. So okay, we see Cyan, wishing she was in heaven with Granny Blake. We get back to Granny Blake, who is freaked out because when she regained her sight in heaven, she saw, as we said, not shining cities of gold and all your loved ones, but a giant cross made up of the body parts of angels who've been slaughtered by Zira, the immortal warrior angel who is God's fiercest enforcer. And of course, her grandson, her memory's been wiped, who turns out is God. God's like a child. Honestly, God and the devil being children, they talk about it a little bit. It's poetic. It works. And I mean, I think it's in a comic book way, it's very like literal, but I also think if you kind of just get past it, Einstein said God does not play dice, but I think he does kind of fight with his sister.
Which, hey, here you go.
Yep. So yeah, he's telling her, get real. Do I look like the kind of guy you would want to hang out in an eternal karaoke bar? And he's talking about, the devil, and he's like, Armageddon is about to kick off, and my people have been fighting amongst themselves. Zera has massacred the forgotten, which leaves us without an army. So I need you people to fight the good fight. And Granny Blake is like, you are not the Lord God that I believe in. This is not my shepherd. She starts reciting the Lord's Prayer. And as she's reciting it, she becomes transformed into essentially a redeemer.
Basically a redeemer. Yeah. I mean, it is like the heaven's fire that we saw, kind of similar kind of vibe that we saw with the first time we saw Redeemer.
And she's now an old woman clad in this like blue and gold armor. And
wild.
I mean, it reminds me of that arc of Spawn where he goes and fights Malbolgia at one point, and like he has to fight his way through a horde of spawns, and one of them is like Billy Kincaid. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of that, and you just see this army of redeemers spreading back through the legions of heaven. And so we catch up with Al, who's with the Mother of Miracles, Man of Miracles,
Mom. We could just call
Femboy
them
of
Mom.
Miracles. Yeah, Mother, who's drawn in a remarkably androgynous way that I appreciate.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, he, she, it, them, they, the Mother of Miracles.
Whoa, you can't say he, she, and can't say that in 2026.
Okay, so maybe if I had stopped there instead of adding like 6 more.
well, when I edit it,
Miracle / miracle self.
Anyway,
is explaining to Spawn that what he needs to do is go into Eden, which still exists. It's just a place locked away from humanity by God, and eat not from the tree of knowledge as Eve and Adam did, but it's Adam and Eve, not Madam and Steve.
Okay.
Not from the tree of knowledge, but from the tree of life. And if he eats from the tree of life, he will become like unto a god with absolute cosmic power. But what he has to do is venture into the dead zone, past the dead zone, through the dead zone, which has always been the gate to the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Great.
Sure.
That's why his powers don't work there. That's why it's like a little bit of heaven on earth. Sure.
And that's why it's a challenge to get there.
That's also why it does make sense, though, because the dead zone is where the heap brought him to the green world in the first place.
True.
So it does.
He's picking up on clues here. Yeah, it's a good way to just make this happen. But again, we see as they're walking through in this sort of cosmic realm of nothingness where the Mother of Miracles has taken Spawn, you can see the roots of the trees that start to form around them have like people in them, faces,
numbers, and
it's the disciples.
Yeah,
that you can see down there. They all have the numbers on their faces.
Cool.
And then Mother of Miracles is saying, remember 2 things, Simmons. First, the disciple like you is more than he seems. Second, remember that the child Cyan is with you. Trust her as she trusts you. Never doubt her for a second. And there we see, once again, we see Cyan's face kind of hewn into the edge of the panel. It's just such a good device. It really works so well. We have seen through the years so many, nearly basically every Spawn artist attempt these sort of collage like psychedelic images to different levels of success. And this is just so understated and so kind of vibey that it works really well.
Well, because they're all riffing on Todd in those first 12 issues being like, what can I make the panel borders to make them more interesting? What can I make the backgrounds to make them more interesting?
picking up on that language that's been built into Spawn, where you use the background and the foreground as storytelling tools as much as you do to create depth and to guide the eye.
Yeah. One thing that's really telling about Spawn in general is we do not have white panel gutters. We just don't. The space is filled.
Right. Whether it's negative space and black, or whether there's stuff behind it. This is not like a Spider-Man comic exactly, where like the white panel borders, I think, have been a thing of the past in general. Not a thing of the past, but all white panel borders as a strict design element have come and gone, and they still have their place.
They have their moments.
But in the language of Spawn here, you're right. We're not getting a lot of that. And even where we have panel gutters, they're black.
Right.
So Cyan opens up her laptop because it's glowing with this Spawn green color. Very moody. I love the colors on this page where Cyan is kind of lit in this like sort of pink from behind, and then she opens the thing and it's got a screen of Spawn versus the Disciple, like a fighting game. Excuse me. It's very cool. The colors here working so much better than that one that one couplet of issues where they were just an absolute mess. So she's watching Spawn fight the Disciple. Spawn arrives at the Disciple's sort of guard tower and calls him out. And the Disciple comes out and says, "You're a glutton for punishment, aren't you, Hellspawn?" And Spawn goes, "I'm through being punished. You want a piece of me? Have a piece of me." And his whole cape disintegrates and turns into bats.
Fucking rules.
The Disciple. Super cool. I'm surprised we haven't seen it exactly like this before. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just a new take on both Spawn summoning bats and the way he uses his cape. They swarm the Disciple, but he kind of burns them off and they fly away. And he says, "I'm going to rip your goddamned entrails out through your ass, Hellspawn, and this time I'm going to eat them. You hear me, you sack of shit? Come on, fight me. Is that all you have?" Once again, the Disciple looking awesome as he choke slams Spawn, beats the shit out of him with flames flying everywhere. Spawn's chains wrap out and suddenly like spring out and wrap around the Disciple and pierce his body. And Spawn rips him in half.
Yeah.
Fire goes everywhere. Super cool double page spread as like the Disciple's limbs go flying around Spawn, and the flaming chain kind of flies across the page. Again, just really utilizing that depth of field, and the chains look great. This whole sequence is fucking awesome. Again, much like Joe Sinet, I might have said Vince Coletta in the previous episode, and I'll have to commit seppuku over that. Much like Joe Sinet helped Jack Kirby kind of fully define the things Rocky plates, how they look, we've gotten to a point where Philip Tan and the inking team have really defined how that texture on Spawn's costume is supposed to look. And especially when we see it here without the cape, it becomes much more like, oh, okay, I get it.
They've made it very legible finally also.
Consistent as well.
The inking team has figured out a way to make it very legible, how it works with the mask part of his face, how it works with his muscles, like how
the
it
inkers, I know there's infinity of them.
Even, right? He's not wearing the gauntlets anymore, but he still has like spikes kind of. So they're like, what is that like?
He's stripping back to kind of his elemental like self, like the most basic elements of Spawn. It is very cool. And I do want to say, for the whole inking team, they're doing a great job packing in texture and depth and stuff. Like just looking at the chains, looking at, again, Spawn's skin, they flow together, even though they have different, the lighting is great through the colors.
Well, and one thing that we've said about the inking team in previous issues in this very arc is, oh boy, really feels like they're not on the same page, really feels like they're not communicating, really feels like they're all kind of taking a slightly different approach.
Right.
But here it's starting to really come together.
Feel like Philip Tan is having a good time.
Yeah, I think that's also true. And listen, I think inkers, send us an email if this is true. If the pencils are fucking sick, probably are more excited to do a great job.
Well, I think I think that's got to be true across the board, just in general. If you're excited about the work you're doing and you're having a good time, whatever your job is, you're going to do your best work, and you're doing, that's certainly true of me at my job, where my opinions do not reflect those of the company. Um, where if I'm writing something that I'm really passionate about or have a really strong opinion on, it comes through in the writing. It comes through in terms of how I, of just my excitement and my enthusiasm and the energy I put into it. I do my best on every piece, of course, but like with this, you can tell when there's a level of like engagement and excitement.
Get a little more amped up, yeah.
So Spawn defeats the first disciple because, as Cyan reveals to him, there are disciples on every island ahead of him. And what we see is a series of little kind of floating plots of land.
Very cool. Very video game, but very awesome.
Yes. And each one has an enemy on it, a new disciple. And they all kind of look just a little different. And of course, they're not called apostles, but we find out that's exactly who they are on some level. You get James the Less, who's the one Spawn fought first. Now we get Simon Peter, who, as we said in the beginning, they call him the podcaster. No, they call him the Rock. And Spawn takes on Simon Peter. He, as he is about to jump into battle, he calls forth his own team of some of the spawns that live inside him. We get looks like ninja spawn, and we get like a spawn with a cool kind of Viking headpiece, and they all jump into battle with the disciples.
Yeah, because one thing he noted when he fought the disciple last time and disciple kicked his ass was that like he doesn't need to make it a fair fight. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He didn't know that he was Legion. And so now he does, and he's going to use that to his advantage. So I really like this because it is Al using the military training he has to be like, hey, here's where you're going to go. This is what you're going to do. And they don't even say anything. They just follow orders.
It's just summoning spawns. And so what appears on Cyan's laptop, we haven't seen it in a million years.
Yeah.
The power meter is back. The counter is back. And bad news, it's down to 274 and falling. 274, 236, 211. And she's explaining the other warriors are eating up your power. So Spawn summons some of them back to him. He says, when Malbolgia first resurrected me, he told me my power was limited, but that was so long ago. I thought when I destroyed him, I was free from that damn counter.
So did we.
Now I'm hemorrhaging power. It must be this place. A hellspawn was never meant to enter Eden. Cyan, what's it reading now? She says 188. You can't use help. You have to fight the rest of them by yourself. So he absorbs the other spawns.
Which, by the way, the panel where he's talking about Malbolgia is so sick with like ninja spawn and samurai spawn behind him. So fucking
Gotta
cool.
say, this thing here where he's got the scythe where he's like leaping through, starting to remember, this looks a lot like, I think it was the battle armor spawn figure, where he had like this cool, just like black armor pieces that were all like almost symbiote like. Let's see. I'll have to figure it out. It was not battle armor spawn, but maybe it was just armor spawn. He looked really great, and I have that figure somewhere. I found a bunch of my spawns, but I didn't go through them yet. Anyway, it was a spawn that had all these armor pieces, and he had a big staff like that was like a double-ended scythe, and it looked awesome. Cool.
I mean, there's a Reaper figure that has that kind of vibe, but I don't think that's what I'm talking about.
No, I mean, it's an old, I'll have to look it up later, it doesn't matter. But yeah, same with like the ninja spawn, almost looks like the ninja spawn action figure. I also have very cool stuff. I like that they're kind of unofficially, or not even unofficially, but just quietly, Philip Tan is kind of bringing in some of that aesthetic.
And also, since the disciples all technically look kind of the same, the way that he's telling us what we're seeing is in those rocky reliefs. We're seeing the numbers counting down, So as Spawn is like destroying a guy, we see like a guy with like an 8 in his eye or a 7 in his eye in the rocks in between panels. Really good storytelling device. We're really
It's super
gushing about
cool.
this, but it's very, very fun. I
And
mean, he straight up
especially,
cuts a guy in half with a fucking scythe, and it's one of the coolest panels ever.
it rules. It really does. So yeah, this whole fight sequence is great. The art is great. The colors look so good. These bursts of green from Spawn's energy. We're done with the like shit brown smears in the background. Now it's sort of like a sunset haze almost.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really nice to see the art team cooking like this. Anyway, Spawn is fighting the disciples. I will say we get this next sequence that really looks like a George Perez kind of like infinity panels plus the kitchen sink, where there's just so many little insets.
This section
And
with the 1/4, starting with the 143.
yes, it's like a double page spread that has like 30 panels.
Yeah.
And it doesn't not work, but it is a little bit like, damn, all right. And like I said, it's very George Perez. He was RIP to one of the best to ever do it, a master of packing in all those different layers and tons of tiny panels. One of my favorite examples from him is in Justice League versus Avengers, excuse me, where you have Batman and Captain America essentially fight each other to a full-on standstill.
Hell yeah.
It's so good, and it just goes through these like series of little moments in that spread, in that Batman versus Captain America, where they're sizing each other up and like doing these little strikes against each other and like kind of coming back and assessing, and then they just decide like, okay, one of us might win if we keep going, but clearly we want the same things and it would just take us both out. And I just think that's such a cool moment. And I'm just gushing about that because I love George Perez.
One of the things I really like about this sequence is, so the counter's at the top of the page, and it's 143. Mm-hmm. And somewhat famously, I guess if you grew up with Mr. Rogers, 143 means I love you. Mm-hmm. And in this moment where Spawn and Cyan are really kind of have this symbiotic relationship where she's kind of the man in the chair for him in a way. Like that's kind of her vibe here, is like she's not really affecting the battle, but at the same time, because of the way she's watching it, I also read it as like she's almost controlling it. Like it is a video game, and that's kind of cool. But I also I have no idea if this was intentional, but the idea that like Spawn is fighting for something greater than himself. Spawn is fighting for Cyan, who, Mother of Miracles has kind of said, like, oh, she's what could have been for you. She should have been yours. So I think it really works. Again, if it was unintentional, it's just a random number, sure. Feels like it probably isn't, because
it could go either way, but you know what? We'll choose to believe.
I'll choose to believe.
And
this
honestly,
whole section rules.
It works really well. It's one of those things where you look at it and you go, this shouldn't work. But because of how cool the Spawn fight is, like in the right side of the double page spread, in between like all the different panels of like Cyan's face, this panel of him with the massive glowing like Buster sword impaling the disciples, awesome. So sick. It's great. And so as he's defeating the disciples, we flash to hell, where Thammuz has turned the tables on Mammon and is holding him. And Satan is kind of chastising him, saying like, you tried to take over hell. And Mammon's like, no, I worked for the glory of hell. Don't you see? And he's like, look, if you let me go, I have a plan that can help you bolster your armies, because they just did the rapture.
Yeah.
He's like, they're going to unleash the horsemen, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, because that's what comes after the rapture. and we need to get our hands on as many soldiers as we can now. So if you let me go, I'll help you come up with a plan. And Satan's like, yeah, why the fuck not? I don't give a shit. And lets Themus drops Mammon, and he's like, okay, what we need to do is make a disaster that brings people from Earth to hell. And how we will do that, because 50% of them will go to heaven, 50% will go to hell. We'll take our 50% and we'll start early. We'll cause
which is weird though, because post the rapture, technically all that should be left are people that would go to hell.
Right. And I think, what does he say? He says, she says, damn him, the enraptured will outnumber us. I need more recruits for the human race is wiped out. I need a slaughter of my own. And here's where Mimon says, may I make it a suggestion? Once the four horsemen begin to reap mankind, their souls are raised and divided equally between heaven and hell. Just whatever. That's apparently the rule here. Sure, this isn't the Bible. Honestly, I'm starting to think some of that Bible stuff may not be real.
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. No, so, it seems pretty credible.
Yeah, I'm in baptized.
There was a flood, and
yeah, it's all
locusts.
There. So Memon says you need to make your own call, a single disaster to bring millions into your army before the apocalypse. And I guess what he's saying is, when people are dying now, they're all going to hell. But once the horsemen arrive, some of them
it'll be 50-50.
So now he needs.
Let's kill everybody, then we'll get
as many people as we can. Yeah. And so he says, have you ever heard of the San Andreas Fault?
And one thing in the last moments of the fight that Spawn has been having against the disciples, Cyan realizes, she remembers her Sunday school, and she's like, wait, Judas, he had to betray his master. He had to. What does that mean for this fight?
Yeah.
And that is the last, and Judas is the last disciple that Spawn is up against while we cut away to hell.
And so back on Earth, an earthquake is starting near where Terry and Wanda live, and Cyan is protected in this energy bubble. Terry and Wanda are trying to get to her, and she's like, Mom, Dad, I think this energy is protecting me. I have something really important to do. I mustn't be disturbed. And so she's kind of trying to figure out Judas, and she sees this like kind of postcard. It's almost like a tract. You know,
she had grabbed it earlier in the issue.
Yeah. And it says, he prays for fire that quickly may restore the youth and vigor which he had before. The sun god smites with vital fire, the willing bird to burn his desire. The whole fabric of nature at a stand remains. The old bird anew young begins again. And it's a phoenix. Oh man, hold on a second. Is that?
It is. So that is a poem.
Yes.
By Henry, or sorry, excuse me. It's called An Ode After Easter by Francis Thompson.
Okay. Francis Thompson.
Yeah.
Not who I was thinking, but I knew it was a poem.
Yeah.
Great. So she sees that and she kind of realizes like, oh, Spawn has to go down. He has to die. And it's a good thing she realizes that, because the counter is getting down 10.
Wait a second.
9.
I think I'm wrong.
Okay.
I just don't want to be wrong. That's what people come here for. Oh no, it's the Phoenix from Thalia Rediviva by Henry Vaughan.
Okay. Again, not who I was thinking either, but great. Okay.
In some editions, it's titled The Phoenix out of Claudian, indicating it's a translation or an adaptation of the late Latin poet Claudian's work on the same subject.
Okay, great. So. Well, it's about the Phoenix, and it clues Cyan into what's going on, essentially. She has this sort of instinct.
It's also Hine doing a little bit of a Holguin.
It is. Absolutely. Holguin was always bringing in like William Blake and stuff, in particular, Dante.
Yep.
So Spawn is like, all right, Judas, if you have any prayers, now's the time to say them.
Some of
And
the
we
coolest
get
inking
this.
in the whole thing.
Oh,
Also
this
on the
whole
fire
like
here. Holy shit!
the fire framing Spawn as his energy like leaks out all around him. So good. And as the counter is ticking down 10, 9, Spawn gets this message from Cyan. She says, Spawn, wait, you mustn't kill him. And he says, Cyan, I have to finish this. I'm running out of time. 8, 7, 6. And he's remembering what the Mother of Miracles said. The child Cyan is with you. Trust her as she trusts you. Never doubt her for a second. And she says, let him win. And we get to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As we reach 1, this earthquake starts, and it is just decimating Los Angeles. Like it's like a disaster movie level of like the movie San Andreas, like the fucking continent's ripping in half.
It's just like the movie San Andreas because The Rock was here.
That's exactly right. My God, that movie ripped off Spawn. And we get this as Spawn cries out, no. We get this incredibly kick-ass final splash page.
The inking here
Judas
blows my mind.
So honestly. Good. Judas blasting Spawn with that like sort of waves of dark fire, and Spawn's like shadowy body turning into shreds that mix with the like heavy black outlines of the flames. Cool. It's fucking great. And with that, Pierce hit me with the credits for Spawn 161.
All right. Spawn 161. Todd McFarlane Image Comics present. Story by David Hine. Pencils by Philip Tan. Inks by Danny Miki, Al Martinez, Ryan Wynn, Crime Lab Studios, and Edgar Tadeo. No Jonathan Glapion this time. Lettering by Tom Warzakowski. Colors by Brian Haberlin, Andy Troy, and Ian Hannon. Production by Jay Photos, who did work on that one arc with, oh my goodness,
Salmon Twitch with Mark
That's
Andreyko.
What it was. Thank you. And covered by Philip Tan. Spawn editors Brian Haberlin and Tom McFarlane, dedicated to Whilce Portacio.
Hey, there we go.
This is also a very sick cover. It is shades of like 9/11 is honestly what this cover kind of looks like. No, in the sense that it is like a lot of destruction in the background. And
I don't even know what that is, dude.
Oh, that's the day that MCR started.
Oh yeah, this does look like an MCR poster.
Yeah, so but very, very cool cover again. Right off the bat, we're getting some of the worst lettering that we've seen from Tom Warzakowski to date, and that is just because
it's tough.
That is just because, and this happens with many letterers, they don't handwrite their handwritten lettering, and instead they use a font, and the font is usually unreadable.
Yeah, it's just too curly and italicized and kind of like scratchy. It's just not a great lettering.
The art overall, though, looks great.
And essentially what we're seeing is like a Terminator 2 style, like the Hollywood sign being totally obliterated and really disintegrated. Cool. As like a huge fire rages across all of Los Angeles. And it's saying, in those days, it was said that the greatest center of truth, knowledge, and enlightenment, the heart of civilization, was in a place known as the City of Angels. It was here that Armageddon was unleashed. And it's talking about the giant earthquake that Memnon just caused, or asked Satan to cause, where we see like chunks of California ripping off and sinking into the ocean and tipping over. And it's just, if you want to talk about apocalyptic, it is absolutely apocalyptic. And I have to give huge credit here to the art team that they take this sequence that is entirely environmental, no characters, and they make it work so well. It is engaging. You get everything that's going on. Backgrounds can be an artist's worst nightmare in some cases. Some artists, this landscape work is so good. It looks like concept art for like a kick-ass like post-apocalyptic movie.
Feels like you just didn't put the characters in. Like you did a great job and you just hadn't put the characters in yet. It looks awesome.
And well, the other thing is, it doesn't even necessarily need the characters. You get so
it
much
doesn't. It
detail
doesn't. It doesn't.
of the buildings crumbling. The colors look fucking great. There's a very Chris Bachalo kind of feel to some of the inks and colors here.
You know, the other thing is, it's something that we discount, I think, sometimes in comics, is the sort of mise en scene of these types of panels. And we're going to do a lot of that in this issue because the characters are not necessarily the focus. There's a lot of vibe that has to get, and like setting and understanding of stakes and the enormity of them that has to get translated. And I actually think the art team does an incredible job of translating all of that.
Absolutely, of making it seem massive.
It feels
and
huge.
Like, we're in the era of widescreen comics now with this, and you get that feeling through this opening sequence of like just the that opening panel of the Hollywood sign being disintegrated just sells you immediately on what's happening. It's such a it's like seeing the White House blown up in Independence Day. You just immediately understand the stakes.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Meanwhile, back at the Fitzgerald residence in Bakersfield, California, a little ways up the coast, there are, or a little ways up California, there are these weird like armadillo, scorpion,
zombies
things kind of crawling out of the earth.
You know what? They look cool.
They do look cool. They look really cool and weird, and kind of unique. They look almost like armadillos or like ankylosaurs.
Yeah, they're lit up like light eyes though. I think I keep saying Mignola, but
oh, absolutely no.
Right?
This whole page, the design, the actual rendering is so Mignola. Like that top panel of the creatures, all their faces,
right?
Could be straight out of Hellboy.
Yeah,
in a positive way. It doesn't, not in a rip-off way.
We've already seen Hellboy recently,
right?
In this comic.
They're taking the right influences.
Totally.
So Wanda and Terry are trying to figure out what to do, and Cyan is saying, please, I don't want to be in here in this bubble of protection. I don't care about being safe. I want to be with you and Daddy. And the Mother of Miracles sees this and says, such a brave little girl. She would die with her parents rather than live without them. Very well, child. I will reward your courage. Whatever your fate, you will share it together. And the bubble extends to encompass Terry and Wanda, just as these weird mutant demons.
So cool. It's like a weird minotaur thing. It's like gigantic now. Yeah. So cool.
And Cyan says, oh no, the sad man. I think I made a mistake. I told him he had to let the disciple win. And Spawn is just like a fucking crater. Like literally looks like Wile E. Coyote, like smashed into the ground. And Mother of Miracles is saying, you fought well, Judas. And Judas says, yes, but not well enough. He had me at his mercy. So why did he allow this? Why does your enemy give up? And Mother of Miracles says, he was never my enemy. You of all people should understand that. History has made you the most despised creature in Christendom. But of all my disciples, as we've learned, the Mother of Miracles was Jesus.
Right.
You were the only one who understood that without the crucifixion, the life of Christ had no meaning. You, Judas, are my most beloved disciple, the one I trusted to betray me. Which, that is one of the important lessons of Christianity that I think is lost in the nuance of people in fucking like what do you call like wealth
prosperity gospel.
Yes, thank you. Prosperity gospel.
And also that Jesus was trans.
I mean, canonically, transubstantiation, important part of the Bible. Satan, force femmed by God.
True.
Or by the Man of Miracles, whatever. I do think it's interesting that the Mother of Miracles was Jesus, who was the Son of God, who is the son of the Mother of Miracles. So in a way, she's her own grandpa.
It's like a long shot
Shatterstar,
Shatterstar
where he's like a
situation.
clone of his
He's like
own
his own
progenitor that is
grandfather.
also yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
So anyway, Mother of Miracles looks at Spawn and says, "Now of all humanity, this poor creature is the vessel I have chosen to be the new savior of this world." He looks almost serene, as if he welcomed death. Yes, it's a pity. I can't leave him to rest in peace. And the Mother of Miracles plucks this crazy looking
Crazy
from the
fruit. I thought it
tree
was a
of
brain
life.
the first time.
It looks like a brain, heart, pomegranate. I mean, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's really great, and the art, the color, the colors really serve it well. It doesn't. It looks like it has this energy, but it's not like glowing necessarily. Anyway,
so the thing that it looks like very specifically is it looks like one of the devil fruit from One Piece.
Okay.
And I think One Piece would have started right around this time. So, and we've talked a lot about how, oh my God, yeah. I mean, it would have started in 1999.
Wow.
And
I
so,
don't
like,
know when it necessarily took off to popularity. I'm pretty sure.
Excuse me,
quick.
it started in 1997, but I'm just thinking about Philip Tan and a whole bunch of these artists being so manga influenced.
Oh, absolutely.
It
really does look like the devil fruit.
It really does, right?
Wow.
So
that rules.
I think it like is Philip Tan being like, "Oh, I like One Piece. I'm gonna do."
I mean, that's kind of cool. It looks awesome.
That's
I would have
awesome.
never picked that out because I haven't seen it, but no, it looks great, and it looks somehow perfectly appropriate too.
Yeah,
like it has this weird kind of alien organic nature.
Looks like a heart. Looks like a brain. Yeah.
And the Mother of Miracles cracks it open, and it looks like it has a mouth, and it drips this juice into Al's mouth, and he's awakened in this green fire. And the disciple says he seems reluctant to be reborn. And as the Mother of Miracles points out, this is not the first time he's burned or been reborn.
I love both of those panels. I think
they're sick. They're all great.
Also,
the one of Spawn's face just exploding.
You brought me back again.
Yeah. That panel of just his silhouette in like the green haze is so cool. And now he's got the huge angel wings like we saw in his vision like 50 issues ago or more.
Okay, what song intro is starting right now?
Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath.
Hell yeah.
Which I was quoting earlier is absolutely what's starting now. Either that or just maybe Neon Nights, but I think it's Heaven and Hell. So Spawn is kind of transferring into a new fully formed kind of body, and all of the 6,000 souls that were inside of him are ascending to some other place, not heaven, not hell, somewhere beyond oblivion, where the Mother of Miracles tells Spawn their journey is just beginning. Now, that concept kind of came and went pretty fast, but I'm also fine with it. It's like, okay, they had to do something. Like,
yeah, I think that
I wish there had been maybe a better. I guess I wish that, like, I don't know, the full army of them had showed up.
Yeah, I think that it was Hine's way of squaring the circle on some stuff and just being like, I want to make stuff make sense. I'm going to make connections.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of like we got to wrap everything up. We got to get to the end of this season. You know,
I got to get rid of Kid Spawn.
Yeah.
I got to get rid of Scrappy Doo Spawn. So
Scrappy Doo murdered in Miami. News at 11.
But what's really exciting about this sequence is that these angel wings are growing from him, and we're finally seeing something come to fruition that we were promised over half the series ago.
Yeah. Of that, like I said, that one image of Spawn with the wings.
Wings of Redemption Spawn was the cover of issue 77. And we see
77.
God talk about, oh, this is
nearly
who he
100
will
issues
become.
ago.
Crazy. Like,
finally get here. Yep.
And again, I said earlier, like, and I've said in past episodes at this point, like, and it may have seemed disparaging that David Hine seemed like he was taking the cruise the Wikipedia approach to writing this book. But I think the reality is that he probably read everything and went, I like this, I like this, I like that, I like this. I'm going to make them all work, and that'll be cool. And also Todd and Brian Haberlin being with the series for so long, saying, hey, we got to make some of this stuff make sense, and we have to be able to pass this on to the next era, where they're at this point definitely feels like with the Cyan connection, like, okay, is Cyan going to become the new Spawn, or is she going to have
There's a
some?
lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions here in a way that makes me want to keep reading.
Absolutely. And so Spawn is reborn. He has the power of a god. And he says, basically says, this happened to me before when I defeated Malbolgia and took over Hell briefly, but it came with a catch. What's the catch this time? And Mother of Miracles says, no deal, no tricks. What you do next will be your own choice. But if you do nothing, the human race will be consumed by the apocalypse, no rebirth, no afterlife, gone as if they never existed. And Spawn, as always, is just like, well, then I don't have a choice at all, do I? But we have finally reached a point where Al Simmons does not look around and go, what do I do next?
Yeah.
He just goes to do it. He teleports himself to Earth where he meets an old man who the old man goes, oh shit, another one. This is very reminiscent of the scene in the first Avengers movie where Mark Ruffalo wakes up in the rubble and oh god, what's his name? Harry Dean Stanton is there and he's like, son, you have a problem. It's so good. It's like that. Spawn arrives in this like crater and the guy's like, if you're here for the murder and mayhem, you're a little late, son. Are you gonna? And the guy kind of brandishes his like broom at him. The guy kind of brandishes his broom at him. Spawn's like, you want to fight me with a stick? And the guy says, I'm not going to crawl and beg and I'm not going to run. And Spawn just says, look, I asked you what happened. He disintegrates the guy's stick. And the guy goes, okay. And he explains the arrival of the 4 horsemen. And this whole sequence fucking rules. This whole sequence is one of my favorite things that's ever been in Spawn.
I fully agree. And this first horseman also, especially, do you like Hayden Sherman's work?
I don't know a whole ton of it, but yeah, what I've seen.
Did Cold War with Chris Sabella, did The Unbeing with Zach Thompson. Is doing Absolute Wonder Woman with Kelly Thompson.
Yes.
This first horseman that we get to see, this monster, I was like, oh, that's The Unbeing. That's like the Unbeing kind of vibe. I think Hayden Sherman is one of the best working comic book artists.
I will say this. All 4 of these horsemen,
cool.
which are not guys on horses. I love that they don't just go with the obvious, which would fit fine into the world of Spawn. They are like these weird amorphous kaiju.
Yeah.
Very Miyazaki. This is very like Princess Mononoke, Nausicaa. It's this, so the pestilence is this big giant mass of like just rotting vegetation that kind of comes out of the East River, swarming with flies and bugs and insects. They said the smell of that came off was enough to kill you. Wherever his shadow fell, people got sick. And it's basically Revelations. You see it sweeping over New York City. I loved this panel in the bottom right of the shadow of it all over the city. And
I also though love the bottom left panel where we see its face and it looks like Fin Fang Foom. But then you look down and you go, wait a second, its mouth also has little eyes and little arms.
It looks like a dinosaur with a boglin inside.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. I love it. And you see the like corpse kind of laying on the ground. The colors here work so well. Next that showed up was Death. And they're basically doing Revelations. I mean, they're doing the like easy listening version of Revelations. Death again looks like this crazy Miyazaki creature. It's just like a worm covered in hair, very Chainsaw Man, which if you haven't watched, absolutely check it out. It's so good.
Also looks like the cover of that one Death from Above record.
Yeah, it
you know what I'm talking about?
The elephant noses and the hair. Yeah, it kind of does. But I just love that these are weird, creepy monsters that are not like, it's not a guy on a horse,
Yeah, because we just did a shit ton of like, the disciple is a guy in armor. We fought a bunch of the Forgotten who are angels. Spawn is just a guy, like, I like when we get weird.
You get to Famine, which is just like a huge gaping mouth. It almost looks like just the head of a shark.
Yeah.
And it says that people couldn't eat enough. Even though they were gorging themselves, they were starving to death.
Oh, but it also looks like that. What's that weird fish? That like goo fish. That's what it actually
a blobfish.
Like. A blobfish.
It does kind of
look like a
blobfish, like a decompressed blobfish. And so finally we get to War, and War has 3 heads. It's this huge hulking thing. Everywhere it looks, it turns people into like savage monsters that tear each other apart. And it says you couldn't fight them no matter how many you killed. We see Twitch being overrun.
Yeah. Rough.
Trying to shoot them all down. We see people turning into monsters, swarming the wreckage of the cities. And then the guy tells Spawn the whole mass of them up and left headed west. And the guy says the horsemen went east. This next double page spread, he said they went east. They must be in Europe by now. Of them basically destroying London. Oh my God, it's so good. I love these colors. So muted and understated. Everything is red, and they're letting the textures and the inks do so much. It's so moody. Any other version of like colors on this, any other style, would wreck the ambiance.
I'll say this. I wish I could own these 2 pages.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're
this is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing, if I had gotten a scan of it when I was like 19 or whatever, I would have made it the background of my computer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I might make it the background of my computer right now. It fucking rules
so hard. And you see all the people who have turned into those creatures, those like weird, kind of like scaly scorpion monster creatures. And Spawn just flies off. He says, the guy says, "You're just going to leave me here?" And Spawn says, "You wouldn't like where I'm going. Stay safe, Grandpa." And he flies towards the people. The risen dead march silently towards Armageddon like gladiators heading towards a great arena. They pass over these bridges.
You know what this is all giving, right? This is all giving Simonson Thor.
Oh, absolutely. So much. Yeah, this is like Galler Brew.
Yeah, this is like almost the Bridget Yaller Brew. Like,
yeah. So good.
They'll sing no songs in Valhalla.
They're basically convening into Hell's army. But below, Spawn sees chaos brewing among the masses of mutated monster demon people. And he flies down only to see perhaps the most expected sight possible. Zira torturing and absolutely mutilating and dismembering these monsters.
Well, she just cut off one of their heads and threw it at Spawn, and he dodged it.
Crazy splash page here of Zira in this like totally weird like squatting pose,
bad weird pose, but it's
with
fine.
The blood pouring from the thing's neck over her like a shower.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty sick. Spawn is like, "Zira." She just says, "Well, it's about time." And that's where we end. Spawn number 161.
Hell, and I can't stress this enough. Yeah. Like, hell yeah. Like, this shit fucking slams.
So we kind of almost we did We did pre-final thoughts,
Well, I think we were doing sort of like
but that was what I was going to say is we talked about kind of the setup. Let's talk about the payoff of how all those things worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think our frustration with Hine I was a little bit more frustrated with the Thammuz arc right after 150 than you were. You were much more willing to see where it was going to go, where I was a lot more down on that. We've been up and down on Armageddon as it's been going through it. It's odd for us to have arcs this long. We're used to sort of stories that are, even if they're not technically arcs, they're a little bit more cut and dry. They're a little bit shorter. They're
1 to 3 issue stories.
Yeah, for the most
that
part.
kind of move things along through like flashes. Another thing that's happening here is we're only going between 2 locations, really.
Yeah.
We're looking at Spawn and we're looking at Cyan. And there's stuff in the middle with the, horsemen or whatever. Like we see some of the effects of that. But effectively, especially through that first issue, we're not going like, here's what Sam and Twitch are doing. Here's what Bobby and Bootsy are doing. Here's what, Redeemer is doing. Here's what we're just kind of going, okay, we got to get Spawn moving. And I think it's like you said, where David Hine was kind of like, okay, these are the gears that are going to move this engine. I need to just pick up on these things because these will also give fans what they want in this conclusion. The power meter coming back and being used really effectively in the storytelling. I was like, okay, very cool.
Oh, it's also a great way to get it off the board. It needed to be removed and nobody got rid of it beforehand. They just ignored it.
We got like the loose explanations without being like, oh, my power meter. You just know he got powered up. And so like,
right. But the green world of it all, the whatever.
And like, oh, your costume produces its own power over time. They made a lot of workarounds for it, but they never really resolved it.
It's so interesting. And you and I have both worked on sort of our own sort of fictions and things like this. And I've been talking with Vanessa as she's working on something herself. And one of the things I very much learned is like, sometimes you do just have to make the connection. Like, kind of all stories are stories of convenience, right? Yes, real life doesn't work that way, where like you have to explain like, all right, well, it comes back from all of this and blah, 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 blah.
But real life does work that way.
Well, but then it does work. But then it does work that way.
That's why you have to do those stories. It's like, okay, if this guy wasn't the right guy in the right place at the right time, this story wouldn't be happening. And that's fine. But we're looking at the world, the 1 in a million chance where the dart hit the bullseye. Right. And so the story happens.
Where Peter Parker got bit by the spider. So the story happens.
I mean, if you wanted to, we started this episode with a funny coincidence where the guy who the issue is dedicated to worked on the movie you're about to go watch.
Yeah.
Life does happen that way. It just happens smaller. We're not going to fight the battle of heaven and hell. We're going to the store to get the hot dogs we thought about eating when we saw Sam eating a hot dog in The Thing, which I did a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're making those connections and there's synchronicities and coincidences and so on, but they have the significance we give to them. And we build our narratives that way.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, in life, things don't happen unless they're all happening together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get to go do a specific thing unless you did a specific thing before that. It's cause and effect.
Yeah.
And I think you're right that a story just has to sometimes be like, okay, no, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Sometimes those things are just connected. Fucking deal with it. It's totally fine. We'll always come back to One More Day sometimes because that is maybe one of the greatest instances of just like forcing a thing to happen.
Where, yes, absolutely.
But at the same time, it wasn't like they said that happened off panel. They told the story about how it happened. And you don't
it's
have
just
to
a
like
dumb
it.
Thing.
Sure, it's just a dumb thing, and like whatever. You don't have to like it, but they did tell the story of it. And
do you think? Let me ask you a question. Do you think Aunt May would have told Peter to give up his marriage to Mary Jane to save her life, or do you think she would have just been like, "Peter, I'm 97"?
So I think that you're right that she would have just been like, hey, I'm 97. It's all good.
But Peter would never done that. Doesn't matter.
But he can't have done it. And that's the thing that is like, that's what that story is contending with, is that Peter can't let go. And actually, the deeper story there is about how Peter can't let go, right? Like Peter cannot, he can't, he
you
can't,
know, in a way,
he can't change because he is resistant to change.
It's almost the inverse of Spawn in a way, where Al Simmons sacrifices his very soul to see his wife again. And Peter Parker basically sacrifices his marriage to maintain this core of what he thinks his soul is supposed to be, where he does these selfless things. So I don't know. It's an interesting inverse of Spawn in that way, deals with the devil. But I like that we're finally just resolving some of these things. Okay, power meter down.
Yep, power meter's done. Closer connection to Cyan.
Done. And it worked. That's
figured out.
It's all happening. The stuff with Spawn and Cyan has really been my favorite kind of
really
through line in a long time for these issues. I think that the idea of Spawn and Cyan having this weird kind of special relationship, I've always liked that. And I've always liked him just being like intensely protective, knowing like, oh, this is Wanda's happiness.
Yeah.
And therefore it is my responsibility, because if I want to contribute to her happiness at all, what I can do is make sure that this little heart that she has running around is safe.
I think that the parallel then of Christopher being his heart and in a way Cyan sort of being Wanda's is maybe not something that gets followed up on in a meaningful way. We'll find out. But like, I think that's really interesting. I think it creates an interesting dichotomy. I think if you start thinking about these things the way that we're thinking about them, you know, you start to see some parallels that I think we've said it before and I'll say it again. Spawn is a much richer character than I think a lot of people give him credit, because they haven't read all of it. Because and if they have read all of it, maybe in some cases they haven't allowed themselves to be open to his continued evolution, you know? And I'm sure that there were fucking people who were like, Stan and Steve aren't on Spider-Man, I'm not reading it anymore. you know?
For sure. I mean, I'm sure there were. Well, you know, I think as long as the idea of the cult of personality around a comic creator, you brought up Stan Lee, that's his main contribution to the industry, really. I think as long as that's been around, there have been people who have been like, why isn't Jack Kirby drawing Avengers number 17? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
I think in some ways, the other thing here is stories that end, plot lines that end, they have to come to an end. And I think sometimes people are uncomfortable with that because we're conditioned to want endings and resolutions that revisit the entire plot of what happened before and make it all perfectly airtight. And like that's why things like Lost, people don't like the ending. Game of Thrones, because it feels like it tied together in a way that's like, nobody gives a shit about this. This is what anybody expected or wanted, or what it seemed like any of this was leading to. Here we get those moments where it's like, okay, this has to end, so it's going to end this way. This is how the power meter is going to be resolved. This is how the horsemen are going to be resolved. This is all, we're going to do it this way. We're going to move this. We're going to move this piece. We're going to checkmate this. And so on some level, you just have to be willing to accept, as I think we are, because we're compelled by these stories as we've been invested in them in so long. You have to accept, like, okay, there's going to be an ending to this plot line. There's going to be a way that this finishes. And we can accept that and be like, okay, here's what happened. I like how this worked out. It didn't maybe spend another 10 issues going back and revisiting every single little moment that led up to this and recapping it, which is what sometimes I think people want to have their hands held through. it's like you said, David Hine seems to have gone like, these are the spices for the recipe. I'm not gonna throw in a whole bunch of cumin. I'm not gonna like get granular. I'm just gonna dash of salt, pepper. I know what I want to do here. I have a recipe. I'm cooking it, and it's gonna get done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been fun to watch. I mean, I guess this is true of any character that you get to watch pass through multiple creators, but like it's been fun to see what's been emphasized, what's been kind of what's fallen by the wayside. Holguin and Hine specifically, I think, have been really interesting to compare and contrast because they have such they do have such different approaches.
It almost feels like Hine is trying to do in 25 issues or whatever it is what Holguin did in like 75 issues.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So we'll see. Well, that's another 2 issues of Spawn.
Yeah.
George, before we go, have any recommendations?
Yeah, I'm going to recommend the album Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. It's the first album they did with Ronnie James Dio as singer. And while some of their records with Dio are, mixed bags, Heaven and Hell is one of the best Black Sabbath albums, one of the best fucking metal albums of all time. Ronnie James Dio is basically the best to ever do it. Black Sabbath, pioneers of the genre, some of Tony Iommi's best and most interesting guitar work. Heaven and Hell, front to back, one of the best.
Hell yeah. I'm going to recommend the new Sam Raimi movie, Send Help.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because it rules.
Great.
Saw it the other day. It's great. Rachel McAdams, one of our best.
I have a screener of that.
Oh, if you do, you should watch it. You'll have a great time. Like, I guarantee you'll have a great time. And if you don't have a great time, I would say your money back, but if you have a screener, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I feel like you won't have a screener. It came out this year.
Maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes I get stuff.
Oh, fair. Anyway, it's super fun. Highly recommend. Sam Raimi, the only guy in Hollywood who's like, I want to keep doing superhero movies. Please let me. Please let me do a superhero movie.
Honestly, oh man, Darkman.
I love Darkman, but Darkman exists because he didn't get the rights to Batman because he tried.
I know.
And he didn't get the rights to the Shadow because he tried. And
Darkman is basically a Universal monster movie.
I know, it rules. It's so awesome. It's like
I wish there was a black and white version where just the psychedelic freakouts were in color.
If you casted a new Darkman, who's your Darkman?
Boy, that's a tough question.
I have like an easy one. It's so easy. It's such low hanging fruit though. And it's Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that just kind of feels like it would be the pick.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not.
I don't know who I'd make Darkman.
Oh, but you know what? Also, here's my. You got to put a name to it. A little Robert Pattinson.
Well, he's already Batman.
I guess that's true.
I don't know. It's a tough one because like Liam Neeson has a weird demented energy in that.
David Dalmalkian? However you say that? Dasmalkian?
Yeah, I can see that.
Is he too nebbish though for it?
I don't know.
Because Liam Neeson is like 6'4".
I think if you asked David Dasmalkian to do it, he'd probably pay them. Like that seems like he'd probably be like, yes, please. I mean, he's 6 feet tall, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's that Bison.
That is true. He is that movie. I keep forgetting that movie's going to come out until I keep remembering that it's going to come out.
Between that and Masters of the Universe, I'm so conflicted because it's like, wow, you're tapping directly into my exact childhood nostalgia, and we'll just have to see how that works out for you.
Do you think we've talked about Masters of the Universe already? I'm holding out hope. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be good.
I hope it is.
Are you going to see?
If it was anybody but Jared Leto as Skeletor.
I know. Don't worry about it. It's only his voice we have to hear. Are you gonna go see Secret of the Ooze when it hits theaters again?
Oh, maybe I will. That's coming up.
It's in March, yeah. It's in March.
Yeah.
So.
I did see the first one when it was re-released.
Me too. I went with my brother, and he was like, "This
good.
is the best thing we've ever done." And I was like, "Yeah,
yeah, yep,
it was awesome."
Yes, yes.
I saw the trailer for that before Send Help,
Nice.
And then I was like, V was getting popcorn or whatever, and she got back, and I was like, "You missed the trailer for Ninja Turtles 2." She's like, "Oh no." Yeah. Anyway,
another recommendation: watch that 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. I'll recommend that every episode. One of the best movies of all time.
I would do a podcast where we just watch that movie, and every episode is about that movie because I love it so much.
The worst idea of all time, or whatever it was called, where they watched Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 every day for a year.
Those were just our friends in Basement Beers.
Yeah, technically.
One more recommendation: listen to Basement Beers, especially the song called "Ghost Mall Reunion" that I'm on.
Nice. Anyway. All right, y'all. Well, that's a lot of recommendations.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll have to write them all down.
Good stuff to look into.
Yeah. Anyway, George, thank you for hosting the show with me. If you like the show, please rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps the show. Please tell your friends. Obviously, we don't have ads, so
we're just doing this for the love of the game.
Truly, we're the Kevin Costners and Sam Raimi's.
I'd rather be a Sam Raimi than a Kevin Costner, if I'm being real.
Didn't Sam Raimi direct For Love of the Game?
I don't know.
Hold on. Yeah, he did.
Life happens that way, listeners. You see what happens? See what we do?
Please tell your friends about our silly show. We've done over 100 episodes. There's a lot for them to listen to. And sometimes we talk about politics that I guess won't be relevant in a few years, but it's fine.
I hope.
Or I hope that they're continually relevant.
I just mean I hope that we don't have to constantly be dealing. Anyway, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, listen. Yeah, no, I agree. Anyway, George, before we go, for Todd so loved the world,
he gave his only begotten spawn.
See you later, Hellspawn.
Spawnography!
Spawnography is recorded in Athens, Georgia, and Queens, New York. It's produced by me, Pierce Lydon. Our theme music and logo were composed by George Marston. Episodes come out every Monday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like the show, please rate, review, subscribe. You can find us on social media at Spawnography or at SpawnographyPod. If you'd like to reach out to us directly, you can do so at spawnographypod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, see you later, Hellspawn.